So you want to move to another country, but in the same time you have a pretty good life in your own country. So you are wondering, is it worth the risk? Let's answer this question together. Hello, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, I'm Luisa, and on this channel we are talking everything about moving to Portugal, relocating to Portugal, buying property in Portugal, and especially in Algarve, because this is the area where we bought an apartment and we are spending like 6 months, half a year in this place. Also video about how we bought our property, about other properties in Algarve and Portugal, and on other stuff you can find in the description below. Also, if you need a little bit of help with the bureaucracy here in Portugal, I can help you with obtaining a fiscal number and a bank account. Everything is done online without ever setting foot in Portugal, and also you will find that in the description below. First, let's talk about risk. How do you define risk? What is risky to you? Because I find out that risk, it's a personal affair. It's a personal definition. So, for example, for me, risky in life is not exploring new stuff, not doing every day something else, not learning every day something new, not being exposed to everything that this world has to offer. On the other part, for my partner Flavius, risk it's something totally different. It's not having a steady income or a steady job, not having his own house. Sometimes risky for him is to take a decision and being the wrong one. So this is why he is that type of person who prefers not to take a decision rather than take a wrong one. So as you see, risk can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. So leave it in the comments. Are you a Lisa person or a Flavius person when it comes to take risks in life? It would be interesting to get to know you better. So what is happening basically, a lot of people have very good situations in their home country, like good jobs, they are close to family, they have a great circle of friends. Basically, they have what they always wanted, a perfect life, right? So what it seems to be a perfect life, but they find themselves in the situation that they want more, they want to explore more, they want to know more about what life has to offer. So they are torn between this need of exploration, of expanding their life and explore the world, and the good life that they are living now. And let's face it, this good life, not a lot of us are born into. We made a lot of sacrifices to obtain what we have now, and it's very natural to be afraid to lose all of it. And then there is this fear of unknown, of new civilization, new culture. Would I be able to belong? Would I make friends easily? Would I be accepted for who I am? What if I make a mistake? I mean, cultures are so differently and people are so easily offended, believe me, I know. And yeah, basically, would I be able to integrate myself in this new culture that I want to explore? And this is a very valid fear. Not everyone has the ability to break their own conditioning or to be aware that what they are feeling is a conditioning. What we name conditioning is all the information, all the stuff that we are being taught by our parents and by our grandparents, without any relation with our lives whatsoever or with our own experience. So basically, all the things that we live our lives by and we take for granted just because we are taught to think like this and to act like this, and things that are not in alignment with our personality and with our lifestyle and with what we want to be in life, with us. So not everybody is aware that is living such a life, a conditioned life, and not everybody is able, without practice, to break to that conditioning. And this is why the fear wins, and you end up doing not what's best for you, but what you are being taught to do. Also, it's hard to accept that we are different. It's hard to accept that we are conditioned. Even if we break to that conditioning and become aware that we are different and we want for ourselves a different life, a lot of the times we chose to ignore this feeling because we want to belong, we want to be the same as our friends, because we have such a great life. Again, it's such an amazing circle of friends, and we don't want to disturb that. So what we do is get along with that conditioned life just because we are afraid to leave it all behind and be different. Because different sometimes and a lot of times mean more alone, not understood, more rejected, and all in all, it's harder. And this is why sometimes, even if we are strong enough to break our conditioning, we just fall into old patterns and we refuse to change. And with all these issues on the table, it is very clear that pros and cons of moving to another country, of relocating, is a very tough and personal decision. So it's going to take you some time before you can decide. But what can you do in the meantime? I mean, it's going to take you a long time to decide, and you don't want to just waste this time, not put it to good use towards your possible move, your possible future plans. So I come up with 4 ideas from my own experience. What can you do even if you didn't really decide to move to another country, but to help you with your process, to help you see if this is a good move for you, you can do these 4 things. Book a flight and visit the place yourself. And yes, even with this pandemic, it's very important that you prioritize your dreams. And even if you have to do 100 tests and stay in quarantine, you need to get this dream started. So you need to travel to this place that you want to move and assess for yourself how it is here, because no amount of videos, of travel vlogs, and no amount of information you read, it's not going to be like your own experience here. For example, like you know from my previous videos, I did a ton of research, but nothing prepared me for the reality of Portugal. No matter if you want to move to Portugal or to another country, it's going to be very different from the place you are now. So it's very important to experience and see how do you feel in this place, because the technicalities can be on point. You may find a beautiful home, a beautiful place, beautiful and happy people and a circle of friends, but maybe, I don't know, you don't like the air, you don't stand the heat, maybe you are feeling alone for no reason, and maybe you cannot just adapt, or maybe you just don't like the place even if it is presented as the most wonderful place on earth. So it's important to come to the place where you want to relocate and live or experience this place at least for a while. And if you are planning to move with your spouse or partner or kids, take them along, because you are going to live in this new place as a family, and it's important that you all experience this before making such a big change in your life. And speaking of kids, the second thing you can do is not to worry about the kids. They are more adaptable than us, and they are not yet conditioned by all your fears or your hopes and dreams or all the things that you wanted to do and you can't, and you put that weight on your child. They are small yet, and they are free from all of that. And this means that they are going to take everything as it is, as their experience, and they are going to just take it as their own reality. They are not going to compare it with anything. And remember, you are stronger than your parents, and your children are stronger and much more adaptable than you are. So don't put your own fears on them, and don't use them as an excuse not to make a change in your life, because it's not them, it's you. Of course, if your child tells you right on point that they don't want to move, it's another thing. And maybe if you have an older child, like 15 or 16 years old, then yes, by all means, take into consideration their input, because they are not even children anymore. This is for a small child, because you worry about making such a big move when your children are small. And this is my point, that they are small and very adaptable, and you are the one who is afraid, not them. The third thing that you can do is ask the opinion of like-minded people. This is for you a very stressful period and a period of uncertainty. So you need the strength, the ability, the expertise of like-minded people who did the same thing and came on the other side on top. Or maybe not, but nevertheless, you need to hear their stories. You need to hear how they did it, what were the problems, because there are going to be some problems that you are not going to be able to anticipate, and you need their support, and their stories, their real stories, will make for you this experience more approachable, because we see on the internet, on the Instagram, on YouTube, such perfect lives, and we often think, that person did it because it had a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money. Or we tell ourselves, that person did it because it's a strong person, knows what he wants in his life, doesn't have doubts. Or we think, that person was just lucky and I'm not a lucky person. We have all these ideas and stereotypes why a person or another succeeded, but most important, we have this stereotype of what this will not work for us. And hearing real stories with ups and downs, realizing that all those people with all those perfect lives have the same problem and the same fears as you, it will make you realize, wait a minute, if that person was afraid and she did it or he did it, that means that maybe I can do it too. At least this was a real experience for me, and seeing that there are a lot of people, tons of people who have the same fears and anxieties as me, helped me and inspired me to look for a solution. And it's important, as in any other aspect of your life, to create around you a support group of people who think the same. Why? And this is the fourth thing that you can do for yourself, is don't tell anyone about your plans until you decided, or even better, until the plan is executed. Listen, you have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear surrounded this topic of changing completely your life. You don't need any more of that coming from other people. You don't need anyone else's conditioning on top of your own. And I know what you are going to say. How am I going to find like-minded people to share this experience with if I'm not telling people about my plans? And this is a real problem, because I had a problem with that. I didn't tell anyone about our plans to moving from Romania and relocating to Portugal. We didn't tell anyone about our plans to actually buy a property in Portugal, because we were afraid of their reactions and afraid of, getting us derailed from such a fragile road already, because between us partners, we didn't know exactly how it is better to proceed, and we didn't need someone else's fears into the mix. So we decided not to tell anyone anything. And this was Flavius' idea, but for me it was especially hard because I like to share all my plans and thoughts with everybody. I like to talk about it here on YouTube. I like to write about on my vlog and talk about it with our friends. And for a year and a half, almost 2 years, I wasn't able to do that with anybody else besides Flavius. So it was very hard for me. And about how you can find like-minded people, well, when you are thinking to talk to your best friend about this plan of relocating, think about it. You already know how he's going to react, and if he's going to react in a negative way, it is best not to tell him, because you want to keep away all that negative thoughts until you are able to come up with a solution, come up with an idea of how you want to spend your life on your own. You want to be sure that this decision is yours and it's based on your thoughts and your reasoning. You don't want to end up 1 year or 5 years later thinking or realizing that this decision was influenced by other people. You want this to be your life and your decision. And if you are not sure how your friends or family are going to react to the subject, but you want to know, you can test the waters, you can bring up in the discussion the subject, but on a larger scale. Like, for example, I read this article that life is very different and very good in Portugal. Do you know something about that? Did you read it? And they are going to come up with their own ideas on the subject, and you are going to instantly know how they think, because they are your friends and your family, and you kind of be able to tell if they are going to be supportive or not. These 4 ideas, these 4 things helped us moving on with our plans to relocate to Portugal and buying a property here with minimum intrusion and influence from other people. So if we did a mistake or indeed make the best decision of our lives, we are at least very sure that it was 100% our idea, our plan and our decision. All I hope is that this video is going to inspire you to take the right step in the right direction for you. So if for us it was a good idea to relocate in another country, and like you see, we didn't do it the classic way, we spend our time also in Portugal and also here in our country for the time being. So we kind of make it work for us. We don't know how it's going to be in the future. This is what I want you to take from this video. Make it work for you, and if you discover that this relocation is not for you, take a good look at your country, and maybe you are going to realize that there is more good there than you were being aware until now, because for sure after we spent 5 months in Portugal, we took a good look at Romania and we saw some things that we were taking for granted until then. So maybe this can be an experience to help you to realize how wonderful your country is. If you like this video, please share it with other people who might be interested in the subject, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!